I'm now hearing Daniel Dubois against Joyce. April 18th in London, probably the O2, as Chisora and Usyk is penciled in for. And it will absolutely be one of the most interesting heavyweight fights of 2020. I don't think it's going to be for a belt of any note, not that I'm really asked about any of the belts, but it is going to be a fight between two unbeaten heavyweight prospects who are going to clash before their first shot at a world title, which is a bit of a rarity. Usually in this day and age, they like to guarantee the big bucks, and I wouldn't imagine they're making huge bucks for this one before they attempt any risks. Certainly who loses this, particularly I feel if it's Joyce, who is the one who is defeated, he's going to find it hard to pick up the broken pieces. And that is because of the main contrast in this encounter, the age difference. Dubois is just 22 to Joyce's 34. 12-year difference there. That is massive. And though Joyce is pretty well preserved, he hasn't been a pro that long, and I don't think he was an amateur for that long, a bit of a late starter, still, 12 years, Dubois is much fresher. And Dubois, who is kind of somewhat lamely known as Triple D, just ripping off Golovkin, he is the more fundamentally sound boxer, isn't he? He throws the straight punches, he keeps his shape better, he goes through the gears a little bit. There's just a bit more polish and textbook about him, where he should be able to find plenty of gaps in Joyce, who fights very square on. He's known as Juggernaut, but I think that's a bit over-complimentary. He doesn't seem that destructive. He comes forward very open and seems game, and it's really a question, I think, with the way he fights, of how tough is he, because he is going to ship punishment with each level he goes up. But he seems so open and so raggedy that it's the kind of raggediness that you can probably underrate. And Joyce will be looking to take Dubois into certain deep waters and turn the boxing encounter into a rough housing affair. And if he can, and if Dubois has any little weaknesses, possibly in the chin or the body, or that heavy musculature could gas him out a little bit, I think Joyce will just be looking to make this a hard, tough fight and try and win and get the better of him blow for blow. Now, because this is an intriguing fight, inevitably, this lands on pay-per-view. Over here in England, it's going to be on BT Sports, I feel. And this one's kind of hard to swallow. It's not just because it doesn't really deserve to be pay-per-view, because we don't know how good either of these guys are yet. They're still very raw. But 2 months prior, we get Fury against Wilder 2. Undoubtedly pay-per-view, massive heavyweight rematch. And then 2 months later, we get this one. By comparison, just a good heavyweight fight. Does it deserve to be on pay-per-view? Not really. And are they going to charge the same price for it? Is it going to come at the same fee? Because if it does, that is just not on. There's not going to be that much of a buzz about it either, though, because while it is an even fight, if you look at Dubois, who's probably a bit more highly rated and touted of the two, he doesn't have that same buzz about him that Anthony Joshua does. And it's not just because the lack of a gold medal and the media machine that was behind Joshua. Joshua just seemed a bit more dynamic at the time. Dubois, by comparison, is a little bit plodding. He boxes nice as the thudding jab, but again, he seems a little bit sluggish, not quite as eye-catching. But I can't complain too much. It is a good fight, even if they force you to pay for it. As things stand, because he's a bit more polished, because of the better fundamentals, I'm leaning towards Dubois.